Just been putting a bit of work into this Breaking Bad drawing this morning, and it's probably going to take a long time for me to finish, but I'm really enjoying creating it anyways, and I thought that it would be a good way to open this video up by showing some footage of me working on a part of the drawing. But I've got something a bit different to show you today, and I'm going to revolve this episode around this place. And you've probably guessed already from the intro of that video that this is the loft of the house, or the attic for those Americans. I think that's what you tend to refer to it as. And I mean, this place has its good points and bad points. In summer it's really warm, and then in winter it gets really cold. I have this portable heater down there, and that's like the only way for me to heat this place up. And once I have that on for a while, it isn't too bad, but the heat just escapes anyways. And the roof is insulated, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. But I'm going to give you a tour of the place because a lot of you have been asking. But real quickly before I do that, here are some photos of what this place looked like before it looked anything like this. Looking at how this place used to look, I think the word boring would be an understatement, but I've done a lot to it since then and it looks a bit better now. And this is probably going to be the quickest workspace tour on YouTube, but we'll go ahead and start over on this side. In terms of the overall place, we have these wooden beams that come over the room, and these suspend the actual roof because this is the loft of the house. And I just really take advantage of these beams by using it to hold the camera tripod and mount the microphones. And on this beam we have a YouTube logo, which I actually put on here when I first started YouTube. This was a long time ago when before I even started uploading consistently, and I just decided to put that on there because originally the desk was on the other side, and so this was the background of the actual videos, and so I thought that would be cool to have the YouTube logo on there. But further down this beam we have these headphones that I just keep there, and then over on this side, which is now the background of the videos, we have these posters, some Japanese Star Wars posters, and I put these here because I really like the artwork. And I thought it looked good in the background of the videos. But in terms of posters, there's quite a few in here. We have the Logic one over there, and we have the Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci, and we have the Muhammad Ali poster as well. So this is where I keep all of the equipment, paper, pencils, all of that stuff, and I try to keep it a bit organised by putting them in these separate sections. We have like pens over there, we have like permanent markers, which I don't use very often, all sorts really, just glue, scissors, pens, pencils, mechanical pencils, anything that might be useful I just keep over here. And then we have the paper and sketchbooks over on this side, things like coloured pencils, and then we have the A3 paper, and obviously there's an iPad there which I don't really use. Sometimes I use this iPad as an extra screen. For instance, if my laptop has been used for something else, then I can always use this screen, maybe put a reference image on there to work from or something like that, so it does come in useful. But that's really all of the equipment and the things that I use, and over here we have two drawers. So I've gone and labelled these drawers, and the top one is for the architecture related work, and then the bottom one is for all of the YouTube related work. And so a lot of the time I found myself producing either drawings for the architecture course or for the YouTube videos, and so having two dedicated drawers like this helps me keep that work separated. Further down here we have a pot of pencils just full of Faber-Castell pencils. Next to it we have a load of pencil shavings where I just sharpen the pencils into there, and it's sort of just building up. But now next to this, towards the end of the room, all of this is quite out of reach from where I sit. We have this old music centre, like DVD players and video players. Obviously this doesn't work, but with this being the loft, this place is still used for storage. Most of it is outside of this area though, but this is the only thing that's sort of taken up a bit of space that I don't actually use. But then we have like books down there, we have a cap, and that's pretty much all there is on this side of the room. So looking over onto the desk, there's not really much to see here. I just have the laptop, the microphone, we have a spare camera lens over there, the drawings, and that's really all that there is on this desk. But then over on this wall here, I've put this large print of the Hong Kong drawing. I put this here mainly because it stops the softbox light reflecting off this white wall, and yeah, it stops it from being so bright. There's nothing really going on behind me other than a blank wall where I used to put a load of drawings until they eventually just fall down because of the shape of the roof. But that's pretty much all of this place, and I told you that it was going to be a quick workspace tour. However, this place is really small and sometimes it can be quite unpractical, but it's better than nothing. I originally used to work on a fold out portable table in my bedroom, and this is a lot better than that, so I'm grateful for it and I just make the most of it. But now that you are all familiar with this place, we can start doing some more drawing. So right from the start you can see that this is my second attempt at drawing this character. I had done it previously and wasn't happy with it. I had just kept going with it until I decided just to erase it and start again, leaving this faint outline behind. I had spent about 3 hours drawing it before then erasing it and trying again, and that might seem like a waste, but my first attempt wasn't looking like the character, and so I decided it was best just to try again and put in a few more hours. This can sometimes happen when freehand sketching. You will find yourself questioning whether the character looks like the one that you want to draw, mainly because freehand drawing involves trying to predict and draw accurate proportions and features just from observation, looking at the image and eyeballing it in some sense, and it can be quite challenging. I found this character's expression to be quite tricky to capture, but I started to work over this and really take my time, looking at the relationship between certain areas before then marking them down on the paper. Using the technique of building up a collection of pencil marks to look like the characters allows me to draw at a really small scale. It requires a lot of attention, and I can use this same approach when drawing from life, and through this process I have to often step back and review the progress of the drawing and double check that it's all in order. If one thing is slightly out, then it might not look like the character at all. I wasn't too confident with this second one either, but I just carried on working into it, looking at the reference image and trying to capture the likeness of the character. Quite often you'll find that when drawing something, you might be a bit doubtful with how the drawing will look, and you might be tempted to start again. I usually try and spend a bit more time working on it, and sometimes it ends up turning around and being something I'm satisfied with. Likewise with this character, I decided that it was close enough. It wasn't 100% accurate due to drawing this freehand, but it will do. So there we go, that's another character down, and we probably have a lot more to go. I actually don't know how many characters we're going to end up drawing on this, but it's probably going to be quite a few, and I'll most likely take a freehand drawing approach. I've been doing a lot of freehand drawing recently, and I'm really enjoying it. I'll most likely do some tutorials covering some tips and advice on things that you might want to consider if you are going to be freehand drawing yourself. But in terms of the one that we did today, it probably wasn't the best one I've done. It turned out okay in the end, especially that second attempt compared to that first attempt, but I did find it quite tricky to capture the likeness of that character, and the facial features were on a bit of an angle, so that was quite challenging as well. But in the end I'm pretty happy with it, and we can move on to another character. But that's going to be everything from me today, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the tour that I gave you of this place. If you did, please give it a like because it really helps me out, and of course I will see you in the next one.